Rockers in Recovery Media is dedicated to carrying the message of addiction recovery through music, news, events, and festivals taking place within and not limited to the clean and sober community.
Hey, good evening. John Hollis with Rockers in Recovery. I want to welcome everybody to the show. Thank you for being a part of our organization for the last 10 years. Coming up on our 10-year anniversary, we want to invite everybody to our upcoming event for our birthday and anniversary bash, and it's going to be January 27th. The RIR 10-year anniversary party. It's going to be held at the Hard Rock Cafe, Nashville. It's going to start at 8 p.m. It's going to go until about 11. Got some great artists, great people coming. Most importantly, we're supporting Music Cares that night. 100% of ticket proceeds to benefit Music Cares. Tickets are $20. And, of course, like any other time, Rockers in Recovery, if you're, that's a suggested donation. If you can't afford that $20, we're not going to keep you from being in there. We want to be able to help Music Cares, though. Music Cares helps a lot of folks. Most importantly, to be able to give people treatment and help musicians and other folks. They help everybody. A great organization. Check out Music Cares. They're part of the Grammys. And we also want to thank everybody for tuning into our new page, Sobriety Music. And, of course, following us always on Rockers in Recovery on Facebook. Great people we're getting to hang out with online. Loving it. So I want to take this time to also go over a few things that's also going on. We have the RAR radio apps available. You can check it out at the Apple Store. You can also check it out on Google Play. And of course, you can find everything at rockersinrecovery.com. Click on the About page, contact media partners, all the way through to our cafes, the RAR cafes. If you want, check out Rockers in Recovery and click on the cafes, and you can get yourself some Fellowship Blend coffee. Great stuff. Check it out. I drink it myself. I love my Fellowship coffee. So in the meantime, tonight we have a great guest, Rob Adams. He's going to be talking about recovery and treatment, and Rob is great person with a great organization that he works for. It's Coastal Detox, and Coastal Detox is an organization that I actually went and did a walkthrough and seen what they're all about and what they do. And let me tell you, across the board, I mean, from medically detoxing somebody to actually putting evidence-based treatment modalities in place at an early stage in the recovery development through the detox to be able to get them on to, of course, their next phase is huge. And they're doing it and they're using it correctly. It's amazing. Rob, welcome to the show, and thank you for being a part of Rockers in Recovery.
John, thanks for having me, man. How you doing?
Good, man. So how's your holidays shaping up? You looking good for the holidays?
Oh, God. Yeah, I guess you can say that. Just
well, I know you have kids.
Yeah, unfortunately, kids, right? But fortunately, at the same time, between my whole entire family and having a newborn on the way, also with my daughter, my fiance, myself, my sister-in-law, all our birthdays surround Christmas.
Oh, that's
so over the next
amazing.
It is, but it's a lot going on over the next couple weeks.
So you got Christmas party, birthday party, Christmas party, birthday party.
Pretty much. It's nonstop.
So let's talk about Rob and recovery, because, I mean, here's the reality. We want to be able to let people know that recovery works, and we want to be able to put a face on recovery. So, how did recovery start for you? I mean, what was the end? I mean, let's talk about that last 2 weeks. That was horrifying, probably. Most people don't come into recovery because it was great. So let's talk about that and how you started into recovery.
The interesting thing is I got sober July 7, 2006. And the interesting thing is I never, prior to that, I never knew what recovery was. I never knew anything of that nature whatsoever. It was a period of time in my life I was I was just internally, because my external world had already collapsed at that point. I was completely alienated from, my family. There was no relationship whatsoever with them. I didn't have any meaningful friendships. Additionally, I was about to get evicted from my apartment, and I was unemployable at that point, and I was just doing anything I could to be able to maintain it. And what it really, I got sober July 7th, but July 4th of that year was when something sort of hit me. And I remember I was walking down the street, and I was withdrawing. I had no dope or anything of that nature, and nothing. Obviously, anybody that through that knows what that's like. And I was walking down the street, and it was July 4th, and it was like just about getting to like evening time, where like up to start going off in my hometown, and I just remember, walking down the street, and I'm hearing people laugh, and I'm seeing people on their porches barbecuing, having a good time, kids running around, and I just said to myself, how come they can do this and I can't? How come they can enjoy life and have this fun and I can't? And, what ended up happening was, that night I ended up getting something to get me through the night. And, I woke up July 5th. And July 5th, I woke up sick, and then, that morning, same thing I always ended up doing was trying to make something happen to be able to get some sort of money, to be able to get some sort of means, to be able to use and get high and just feel okay for a minute. But it was to a point at that point where even when I was using and getting high, it wasn't taking away, and it wasn't giving me the relief. And what was occurring was I was out of control, period. And so I tried. There was one window in my mother's house because I had her house and stole stuff and pawned stuff, and at that point locks were changed, all new windows were installed, but there was one window over the kitchen sink that I could get in, and that window I couldn't actually get in through the bottom part. I had to push down the top part of the window, climb over the bottom part of the window. It was one of those smaller windows, so I barely could fit, and it was over the kitchen sink. And as I was doing that, my mother was, she was home, and at that point, she's screaming at me, "Get that out of the house! You got to get out of here! I'm going to call the cops." My father was already at the police station filing another police report on me for previous, time breaking into their home. And then, at that point, I had one of those prepaid track phones, and it had no minutes on it. It just literally told me the time. That was it. And, I stormed out of the front of my mother's house, and, I was cursing at her. She's cursing at me. And I walked probably about a block and a half, and I just sat on the, started crying, and I smashed that phone on the ground. And, I walked back up my mother's steps, and she's standing at the door. She's like, "Get the F out of here. We can't, we don't want you here. You can't be here. Police are on their way." And, at that point, I just said, "Mom, I need help. I don't know what to do anymore. I can't live like this." And she gave me the portable house phone, and she gave me the Yellow Pages, and she said, and so I'm calling places, and I'm on the line with somebody. I'm going through this whole ordeal, and assessments and things of that nature, and they're like, "What airport would you be flying out of?" And I said, "Whoa, let's back up a second here. We're talking about airports. What do you get me into?" And they're like, "So we can fly you down here." I'm like, "Fly me down where?" They're like, "Palm Beach County, Florida." And immediately I hung up the phone on them, because in my mind at that time, I was 21 years old, and I had this mentality, being from New Jersey, that it's born in Jersey, die in Jersey sort of mentality. And so I'm like, I'm not leaving Jersey. What, are you kidding me? And mind you, I'm not leaving anything, because there was nothing there for me to leave. I had nothing at that point. So what ended up happening was, fortunately, the facility ended up calling me back, and they said, "Are you sure you do not want to come down here?" And I told them, you know what, I got nothing to lose. I literally have nothing to lose at this point. So, let's get me down there. And then my flight was the next day, and so July 6th was my flight, and July 7th was the first day I woke up in a treatment center in sunny South Florida, and that's when my journey of recovery actually started. And there was a lot of damage along the way. Yeah, that was 2006.
So and I'm sure that was a culture shock for you to get down first of all to South Florida. I took that flight myself back in the 90s. So I knew and here's the thing that I need to ask is that when you got here, I mean, that first year for you, what was it like? I mean, what was it a struggle for you? Did you want to use a lot? Did you start to get involved in your treatment process? What was it like that first year being down here and going through the treatment process?
It was the word I can use is simplistic, because for the simple fact that did I want to use a lot? No. Very early on, early on in my recovery, the first month, 2 months. In my mind, I was like, it's just the heroin and the pills that's the problem. It's not the alcohol. Mind you, I'm in a sober living environment at this time. Call them halfway house back then, and so I'm living there, and but right away, because while I was in actual treatment, I had individuals coming from 12-step fellowships that were bringing meetings in. So I really got integrated with those guys. I got dropped off at the halfway house. I'm out of this comfortable environment and being in treatment. And, reality's, sunk in a little bit. And I was like, what do I do? Do I pick up these numbers and call some of these guys, or do I just continue to do what I do? And for some reason, I ended up picking up numbers and calling. And, I'm 21 years old at this time. I'm a young punk kid, and some 65-year-old guy picked up the phone and picked me up and took me to my first meeting, and it was a men's meeting, and he said, raise your hand, reach out for help. And, riddled with fear, I did that, and I was given more phone numbers, more support, and I got a sponsor right away. I started getting integrated into 12 steps, I had a home group, and shortly after I got a job, and I lived in a sober living environment in Delray Beach. I took the train to Pompano every single day. I took the tri-rail down, and I worked a small, meaningful job. It wasn't my career. I wasn't looking for a career right away, because at that point I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. It was just simply to pay rent and have food in my stomach, and that was it. And, everybody told me, trust this sort of process, and I started going through this process. And then, shortly after that process, getting into the step work with a sponsor and stuff like that, that thought that it was just heroin and it was just the pills and alcohol is not a problem, that thought left, because I started realizing that alcohol was a catalyst for a lot of my problems. And I started seeing the destruction that occurred in my life as a direct result of alcohol. And I realized that, it wasn't necessarily, the alcohol, the heroin, or the pills. It was me. And I'm the one, that had an illness. And I'm the one that needed to, do some work to overcome this and rely on something greater than me and get integrated into 12 steps and all this stuff. And so that thought and going through that step process, that thought and that notion of that I can somewhat drink successfully one day, that thought left, and I haven't really thought about that. I'm a drug addict and an alcoholic. Of course, do I think of, drinking and stuff like that? Of course, but, but at the same time, like, I'm aware today of in the event something like that.
And it's not a compulsion.
No, absolutely not. There's not a compulsion. There's not an obsessive thought, and that's just me being, a human being and being, what my background is. And, I talk about it every day. I work in treatment field. So of course, like, these are daily conversations, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's, I know where that will bring me today. and it's a beautiful thing being on the other side of this and living in a peaceful life and not having that obsessive thought that's blocking out every other thought. And it's like tunnel vision. That's the thing I have to do. That's what I have to do instead of going home and seeing my daughter, go to the liquor store. Like, that doesn't occur for me anymore. You know what I mean? And it's an awesome feeling being on this side of things.
Amazing, the transformation and watching people go through that process, an amazing thing. Now, Coastal Detox, I mean, when you went through the treatment process, I'm sure you went through detox and then you went through treatment and then you ended up in this sober living environment. And you start to look at the detox process and somebody showing up, like you did and like, we all did at one point in our lives. What was it, and what is it like at Coastal Detox for a person to show up? What is the first thing that happens when they arrive at Coastal Detox?
The first thing that's happened is first and foremost, wherever they're coming from, they're going to be greeted by one of the members of our transportation team. We're going to be picking them up. Most of the time, individuals are more than welcome to get dropped off. It's just that sort of comfortable feeling, being with a staff member and that staff member driving with him in, can give him a little insight also of what to expect when he does arrive. When he does get there, he's going to be greeted, warmly by our staff. With any sort of intake process, there is a process where you do have to go through an admission process, and you do have to experience sort of that whole, they're going to ask you what you're using, how long you've been using, any mental health, any of those, that sort of, all those questions. But right after that, one of the things that I love about, Coastal is, and, when you were there, John, you saw as you come out of that sort of intake office and you're sort of in our open area, our staff will show that individual exactly where everything's at, where the nursing station is, where the holistic room is, where the smoking area is, where the room is, where the cafeteria is, the lounge area. And so it's a little bit more comfortable for that individual, when he does arrive to our facility. He does arrive to our facility, he's going to be assigned a room. Each of our rooms, we are 38 beds, and each bed in each room has their own personalized television also, just simply because, you have headphone sets and it's a more unique and personalized experience that they could have with whatever shows they want to watch, because you could have one person that wants this show, another person that wants this show, and then next thing you know, they could be bickering over it. So we personalized it a little bit. Additionally, they're going to see, one of our nurses or doctor right away, and at which point, they're going to be assessed medically to determine sort of what medical protocol that they need to be on. Each individual that does come in, not every individual is the same that comes to a medical detox. So they are going to be assessed individually, and that individual assessment is going to determine what sort of medications they need to be able to be successfully detoxed. And then additionally, what we do have with the medical portion of this is our holistic portion that we do implement also. So that individual is going to be getting the best of both worlds at our medical detox facility.
If you're just tuning in with us, we're speaking with Rob Adams from Coastal Detox. You can check out coastaldetox.com for information and, to get to know Rob better too, great message of hope tonight for anybody that was listening to his personal story. And if you want to talk to Rob, you can call him at 866-802-6848. And again, that number is 866-802-6848. Rob, in closing, in a couple of minutes here, if you could, your mom and dad struggled. They had to watch you go through what you were going through. If you had a family member out there right now that has somebody that's struggling with addiction, what would you say to them?
Reach out to help. I mean, there's nothing, the stigma of addiction in the household in this day and age is gone. So if you do, in the back of your mind, hold on to, I don't want to tell anybody because I don't want my family to look a certain way or whatever the case is, you got to get over that fear and pick up the phone and call. Because if you don't, there's a chance your child, your loved one may not make it through the night, especially in today's day and age. The stigma of what addiction is, it's continually being shattered, that stigma, and it's in my eyes and the way I look at it, with the amount of households and homes that are affected throughout America, it's gone. There's no shame in addiction anymore, but there is hope in recovery. And without, reaching out and calling, whether it's Coastal Detox, whether it's another facility, whether it's another family member, whether it's a friend, speak up about it, talk about it, reach out. And those ones that are in recovery, those ones that do have some sort of solution, those that work in treatment or are aware of this stuff, if you know of a family or an individual that is struggling, all it takes is 1 minute to reach out to that person. So it goes both ways, not only just a family member or that individual. It's our obligation also to reach out to the ones that are struggling.
Amazing stuff, Rob. I want to thank you, and I want to thank you for everything you do personally in the recovery community, and of course Coastal Detox for all of the support they give to local events and the local community and the community across the country. So I want to again thank you for being on the show, and I invite you back in the future. And we can talk about some other modalities and different things that, like music therapy to acupuncture to massage. I mean, there's a lot of different things that go on to help the body heal.
Absolutely. We could talk about it for hours, John.
Absolutely, man. Hey, listen, thanks for being on the show. Thanks for being a part of Rockers in Recovery. Coastal Detox can be found at coastaldetox.com. And, of course, again, you can reach Rob by calling 866-802-6848. Thank you, Rob, for being on the show. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it. You too.
All right. Now, we've got a young lady that's coming on next. She's a beautiful young lady. She's been part of Rockers in Recovery for the last couple of years. Her name is Stacy Hampton. Stacy is a singer-songwriter and a very good one. And you can check her out on Sobriety Music every Saturday night at 9 o'clock, and that would be, of course, Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to talk about time zones with Stacy right now. Stacy, are you with me?
Yes, I am. How's it going, John?
Good, man. And Stacy is on Sobriety Music at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which would be 8 o'clock Central Time. So what we're looking to do is have everybody tune in this week and make sure that everybody's aware that she's got some great music. She writes really, really great songs. So you will miss out if you don't come and join her on Saturday night. And that being said, you have an event coming up. Tell me about it.
I do. Over here in the panhandle of Florida, or a lot of people like to call it Lower Alabama, Fort Walton Beach, Florida, at the Green Door Music Hall. I am going to be playing with another band from Nashville, and that is December 19th, starting at 9 p.m., and that would be Central Standard Time. And I'm pretty excited about that. I really am. I've played at the Green Door a couple of times here locally. It's been a minute, and so it's going to be nice to get back over there and see those guys and jam out a little bit with the band from Nashville.
And could you give us the date again?
December 19th.
Okay. And Fort Walton Beach.
Fort Walton Beach, yeah, the big city.
So the cool part about this is that your music is really getting out there, and lots of people are starting to, see and understand, and have been for quite many years now, the effort that you put in through song and through your own experiences in recovery, and just your day-to-day experiences. You're starting to write music. I'm starting to see that some of your experiences, like Grandpa's Driveway and other stuff that you've done, is not always recovery-related, but it's definitely life-to-life related.
Yeah, it's really important to me to keep I mean, don't get me wrong, recovery is absolutely important. That's the number one thing in my life. And the other part of it, though, is the beautiful thing about creativity is like you said, taking everyday experiences and putting them into a way that you can communicate on an emotional level and tell a story with just about anything. Grandpa's Driveway was a simple request that my mom did for Father's Day. She called me up and can you write a song? And she's very good at doing that. Can you write a song for, a tribute to your grandpa on Father's Day? And so it's nice to be able to take that and kind of bring it into a creative way of bringing memories and telling a story. And in that case, bringing a family together. And I did a video for it too, and I was able to get my hands on a lot of old pictures and, see a lot of my cousins and see a lot of, the aunts and the uncles and it was something that I hadn't thought about in a little while. And the interesting thing, John, is on a couple of Sunday nights a week, I play music at the facility that I work at, and I play music for clients, and Grandpa's Driveway has become an all request hit, and like half of them will lay out on the floor and just start bawling because, oh my God, all I could think about was my grandpa's house, and all I could think about was how much fun we had on the swing. So it's definitely connecting with other people in a language that everybody can speak, which is music. So in that sense, I guess you could really still veer it back, into recovery and sharing experience, strength, and hope in more ways than just one, So it's nice. It's like we always say, the universal language, if you will, to tell a story.
Good stuff, man. We're going to play Grandpa's Driveway tonight. And
well, he's got a couple of those
Grandpa's
too.
Garage. Hey, man, I've been in there too. There was nothing ever good that came out of Grandpa's Garage, I can tell you that.
No. One time he made me a baseball bat, and it was probably 10, 15 pounds. I could barely lift it. It was crazy.
Well, I'm talking about my grandpa's garage. So that being said, I want you to check out Stacey Hampton on Facebook. You can go to @StaceyHampton, and her page will come up. Check her out. Check her out on Saturday nights at Sobriety Music. And most importantly, if you're checking out our show tonight, you can listen to the replay on this within about 15 or 20 minutes. And right here at the same link, you can pass it around to your friends. You'll also be able to find this show on rockersandrecovery.com. And, of course, Fade into Black and Grandpa's Garage or Grandpa's Driveway. I'm going to be stuck on that all night. Is two songs that she just put out, and we're looking forward to having her play them at our upcoming event that's going to be held up in Nashville, and it is the 10-year anniversary party of Rockers in Recovery at the Hard Rock. Stacey's going to be there with a bunch of other fellow musicians and people that have supported Rockers in Recovery for years, and we want to thank her for her support. And, of course, a big shout-out to Teresa and, of course, Rick Hampton. Much love to everybody, and thank you for being on the show and telling us about your next event.
All right. Thanks, John. I appreciate it. Have a good night, bud.
Brother.
All right.
Okay, hon. Bye.
Bye.
There's a sign on the road out on Highway Double H. It's been there since I was a little girl, and it seems to never age. It says, drive on in your home. You can bring 'em all your things to work on anything, as one big messy mix. Grandpa's driveway, sing me a song, where I felt like I did belong. There's turkeys screaming from across the street as we all went around playing hide and seek. Remember when the sun sunk low, then the lightning bugs appeared. We'd run around with mason jars in hand, catching stars with no fear. Well, it's strong, much like the man, has withstood the test of time. I'll return to it one day, where I spent those summer nights. Grandpa's driveway, sing me a song, where I felt like I did belong. I'm hiding out back in his wooden shed. It's where my heart and soul were fed. I'm looking back on all of this, and I can't help but know I miss that warm, special place out on Highway Double H. Grandpa's driveway, sing me a song, where I felt like I did belong. There's turkeys screaming from across the street as we all went around playing hide and seek. Grandpa's driveway, sing me a song, where I felt like I did belong. I'm hiding out back in his wooden shed. It's where my heart and soul were fed. It's where my heart and soul were fed.
Rockers in Recovery Radio is based on opinion only and is not meant to treat or diagnose any health or mental health issue of any kind. If you feel you need help for any health-related issues, please contact a physician or mental health professional. The opinions expressed by our guests are not necessarily those of Rockers in Recovery.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.